its own challenge. Sometimes there's too much. There's so much footage, it's this mountain of things, and you have all of these options. And so it's really important to keep an open mind about that stuff. I got into editing not long out of college. I was just desperate for work, and I knew a friend of a friend was working at MTV, and I got a job just as a post PA on a couple of projects. And then my first real break came working on this TV show called Robbery Homicide Division that Michael Mann was producing and directing a lot of. And that's really where things took off for me. I was a post PA, but I then proceeded to work on several of Michael Mann's next projects. I worked on the movie Collateral and Miami Vice, and I was an assistant editor on that, just sort of working my way up. And I haven't, and then after Miami Vice, I took this sidestep and formed a company with some friends, and we were writing and directing and producing and editing and shooting and everything else, original dramas for the internet. And then financially, it just sort of didn't pan out after the collapse of the economy. And so we kind of all went back to our day jobs, and I started working as an assistant editor again, and I really haven't, I've had almost no time off in, it's almost 7 years, so.
As someone who hadn't been, it's not been that long since you were a student yourself, what kind of advice would you give to someone who is trying to make it in this industry? It sounds like you had some breaks yourself and put in those hours. What would you tell a student now who's trying to make it in the industry?
Well, first I'd say it's very sweet of you to say that it wasn't long ago that I was a student. But the advice that I give any student ever who's trying to get into this is to take every opportunity that comes at you. Whether it's editing a friend's short or editing a feature that somebody comes along and says, we really need an editor, or, don't be afraid of internships. Then now they actually have to pay you, which is, it's not much, but I think it's a California thing. So, hey, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm no lawyer.
Introduce yourself and some of your recent or most favorite projects.
And can I
just,
look
yeah,
at
just
you?
look straight
Okay.
at me. That's fine.
My name is Virginia Katz, Ginny, and my most recent project was Beauty and the Beast, which I loved, which was fun. My favorite, I think, of which, well, I shouldn't say that because I have a lot of favorites, but one of my favorite movies that I worked on is Dreamgirls, which was so much fun, and loved